Dragon Ball Daima and Dragon Ball Super. Which one is the canon sequel to Dragon Ball Z? I'm gonna try my best to give you an answer by telling you something a lot of people don't know about Akira Toriyama. According to this interview by Akio Ioku, producer of Daima and head of Capsule Corporation, Daima is the direct sequel to Dragon Ball Z that is written by Akira Toriyama. So does this mean Super is no longer canon? Well, I don't think that's the case. Ioku wasn't really concerned about where Daima fit into the Dragon Ball series as a whole. He said he's more focused on showing the various connections to Dragon Ball. But he figured Toriyama knew how it all connected together. And here's the thing, he's not wrong. You see, Toriyama was notorious for making things up as he went. This is a fact, look it up if you want. In this interview from the 30th anniversary Super history book, Toriyama was asked if he had an image of future story developments when talking about Dragon Ball Z. He said he hadn't thought of how the story would develop next. He said there were times he went, wow, Vegeta's teaming up with them? Then in the same interview, he was praised for connecting bits of foreshadowing, which he then admits to forcing everything to come together. He literally says, I don't plan things out right from the start. Instead, I think of how to make the story come together. I basically go, I bet I could use that thing. He goes on to say he's like that with characters too. There were times where he'd be like, hey, that guy's still alive, maybe I could use him. So then it would seem like he's been thinking of the story for a really long time. Now, thinking about Daima and knowing this about Toriyama, it's easy to figure out that he wrote Daima without thinking about how it actually fit in Super. And he probably figured if he ever actually had to connect the two, then he would just figure it out. But Toriyama did believe in multiple universes in the Dragon Ball realm. And I'm not talking about Universe 7, Universe 6. In another interview from 1995, he was asked what he thought about the Dragon Ball films, and he said he always saw them as stories happening in a different dimension from the main story of the comic. So if he believed that, who's to say that's not how he viewed Super, since he didn't write it directly? I personally think they're just different timelines. I think there's the Toriyama written timeline, and there's the Toriyama and Toyotaro written timeline. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think.